This is one of my best and my favorite bush, only because of the color. Look at that, that's a lilac color, and they come in white, they come in deep purple, they come in so many different colors. And the beautiful thing about it is for butterflies, it's for birds, it's for bees. But the lovely thing about this is very low maintenance. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Alice and I'm the red soil gardener. As I mentioned before, this is one of my favorite bush, only because of its cone-shaped flowers. And look at that color. And the thing is that you get the blooms coming from either side of the stem, and it flowers all the time. It just blooms, 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 and you don't need to deadhead it because it just blooms all the time. So the thing about this plant is that, first of all, is the foliage. I just love that greenish grey look, and it just makes it so more delicate. And then the other thing about it is that propagation is so easy. It's actually through the nodes, through the stem, or in some cases is that you get it through the seeds. Now the thing about the butterfly bush, in some countries they say it's invasive, and we know that because sometimes as you're driving in, if you're in Europe, you do see the butterfly bush along the railways, you do see it in the forest. And what happens is that once it does go into seed production, it does scatter its seeds everywhere. But you do have a sterile butterfly bush, which actually is seedless. And this is what, if you had the opportunity, like if you went to your nursery, you could get that variety, because in the end it won't spread its seeds. But I have no problem with the seeded variety because you can manage it. So in order for you to grow a butterfly bush, the first requirement it needs is it needs full sun. It must get at least 6 hours of full sun, otherwise it doesn't flower. And the more sun it does get, the more blooms you will get. The next thing is that it's actually quite tolerant. So for as long as the soil is well draining, you'll have no problem. But the only thing you have to take note is that the butterfly bush does not like water around its roots. So whatever soil you do get, don't get a clay soil as we have in Kenya, but if you do get a really well drained soil, it's going to flourish. So if we say that the butterfly bush does like a well-drained soil, is that when you do plant it, as we all do, is when you make your hole, try not to get the roots so deep inside the hole. Try to keep it slightly up, so when you're watering, the water doesn't get clogged in that planting hole. So if you have it slightly elevated, make sure that the water does drain around the edges, and that way it doesn't keep those roots soggy. So now if you look at my butterfly bush, I will tell you something, is on that side, which is the left hand side, that is my old bush, and it did get hard a bit. I think what I did is I really didn't look after it. But I use it as a stand for all my creepers to go in, and it's now just starting to flower. But what I've got are these shoots that are coming out, and they're doing far better than that old stem. But if you look at the height, this is the more reason why you should have it right at the back of your flower bed, because look at that height. Don't plant it in the front, because otherwise it'll overshadow your other plants. If you do go and purchase one of these butterfly bushes and you want it in a container, they do well in containers for as long as it's well drained and there are holes inside. As we mentioned earlier, they don't want to have water around their roots. It will do well in a container. So we're going to do a simple propagation here, and usually the butterfly bush, it actually propagates very fast. So what I'm going to do is come here and look for a really nice stem. I might even go with this one where I cut it before. So what I've done is I've taken a soft cutting from my butterfly bush, and this is it. And I'm going to just remove all these leaves here because basically we don't need them in terms of propagation. And I'm just going to remove that one. And then I'm just going to take a cutting, I'm going to cut it here. So basically what you need to do is that once you do get your soil for propagation purposes, is make sure that this node is submerged in the soil, because that's where the rooting will come from. So now what I'm going to show you is these are the ones I propagated, again using the same method, and I'm going to take that and just slowly pour them out so you get to see what is happening here. So these are out of stem propagation. Just give me a minute, a bit hard. And these are stem propagations, and I will put these in my garden. Here we go. I'm gonna have to break it up because there's a lot of rooting here. So that's one propagation done, and I'm going to just lay it there, and then I have to dismantle this one. Another propagation. Look at that rooting, isn't that beautiful? And this would be ready to go into the soil. So we do the last propagation, see the result of it. And here we go. There's a lot of rooting here. And again, another propagation of our butterfly bush. And these ones should be ready to go into the soil. And I'm actually quite excited because that means my butterflies will be coming, because they do attract a lot of butterflies. Again, going back to propagation is, as we said, is always have your nodes submerged in the soil. Do keep a few stems, sort of leaves, for photosynthesis, because it will keep continuing to feed your little plant. But once it does feed it, and look at those beautiful rootings. So we're done with these. I'm going to put them in here and I will sort them out later. We're very excited because I'm going to put them straight in the garden. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So now with this one is exactly, this is how it works. So with this cutting, all I'll do is I have a really good mixture here. It's full of organic stuff and a bit of grit, and exactly like what we used for the propagation here, which is a bit of grit, a bit of compost and everything. And all I do is make sure that the node is submerged. Just stick it in there like that, and then get your water and top it up. And keep it moist all the time as it's growing, because that's when the rooting will take place. And then make sure you keep it in a shaded area. Full sun would actually exhaust the plant because it'll lose a lot through evaporation and then it'll wilt. So just keep it moist like that and keep it in a shaded place. So, fellow gardeners, there you are, our butterfly bush soon to be planted in my garden. Very excited. And all my butterflies will come and visit my butterfly bush, my new ones. And so don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to press that notification button, and also subscribe, because it introduces to your friends and to your family, and so that they can know also what the Red Soil Gardener does. And also don't forget to send us comments. I'm always there to answer you. We're on Instagram, DM me. We always have exciting pictures that come up and also tips. So thank you so much for joining this channel, and have a lovely day. Get some butterflies in your garden. Thank you. Bye.